Hey there Dark and Darker fans, and welcome back to the channel. Included in Early Access Patch number 1 were several adjustments that initially flew under the radar. This is largely due to Iron Mace's tendency to underdevelop their patch notes, but have now been identified as the key instigators of massive changes within Dark and Darker's character power progression loop. 1. Most armors have been updated and give additional bonuses in addition to just armor rating. 2. Merchants updated to sell a much larger amount and variety of items. So how exactly did these two changes so greatly impact character strength progression? The first impact is that since armor of all rarities are now much better, on average, players are finding gear which drastically outshines starter gear. Taking a look at the shop right now, we can see that most upgraded armor now has base scaling attributes, based on rarity, in addition to the bonus accompanying random stats. The most impactful power bumps take place when moving from a white rarity item to a green, where base attribute stat is doubled from 1 to 2. That might not seem crazy at first glance, but if you can manage to get your hands on specific pieces of gear, which honestly isn't that hard right now thanks to the new shops, your base character attributes can see huge increases before you even step into the dungeon. For example, take a look at this gear I was able to purchase from my rogue. For only 160 gold, we get a boost of 4 strength, 3 agility, and a green rapier. That is a 50% increase to our strength stat and a 70% increase to weapon damage. Add in a few healing items and we have ourselves a well-geared rogue for under 200 gold. That brings us to the impact of merchant changes. During pre-patch early access, this type of gear would likely have been difficult to find and cost us a lot more. Getting 2 strength on items would have likely required perfect rolls on a green item or stepping up to a blue rarity. Now it just exists always on certain pieces of gear, and that gear is almost always for sale in the merchants. Taking a look at the merchant prices, 50 gold goes a long ways now. This means that players who are able to maintain a healthy economy almost never need to do naked or economy runs. Players who can dependably extract 50% of the time with 150 gold worth of loot are easily able to maintain the significant power growth. Who can extract 50% of the time, you ask? Well, also included in this patch were changes to Goblin caves. There are now 7 players in each dungeon, and there are 7 exits. If you are a mildly experienced player who plays safe and actively disengages from PvP, you stand a high chance of extracting from Goblin caves with whatever loot you can find. And honestly, there is a lot of loot to be had down there. So what is the overall impact from these changes? Put simply, players are on average much stronger than they were pre-patch. Gear is plentiful, affordable, powerful, and players have the gold to buy it. This is even true for players in the level 1 to 14 lobbies where they cannot access trade chat. These changes vastly improved the way in which players can attain good gear and significantly boosted their power level, especially at lower gear qualities such as green and whites. In extension, higher rarity gear has also become somewhat less powerful. The next power bump in armor is from blue to purple, where the base attribute stat goes from 2 to 3. Players in full green armor currently pose a significant threat to players kitted in blue and purples. Are these changes good for the game? I think that is something only time will tell, but my personal take is that yes, these changes are good. Pre-patch, most players were tired of getting steamrolled by kitted teams holding W. It was getting so bad that high roller lobbies were empty, and many players were simply deleting their characters once they hit level 15, just so they could play in lobbies without the impact of trade chat. Now, players who don't get the opportunity to play as often and amass insane gear can be powerful, and actually feel like they have an opportunity to play the game. The community has embraced these changes, and social media is congratulating Iron Mace. So here's hoping that these changes are here to stay. Thanks for watching, and thanks for any comments, likes, and subscriptions. I appreciate your engagement with the channel. See you in the dungeon.